Can people who reject Jesus as divine still worship the same God?
No, they cannot, because the Christian believes that Jesus Christ is a part of the Godhead. I wanted to answer that and also touch on a couple of things that you guys said, which I think was really fascinating. Obviously, the nature of God for us is Trinitarian, and we get that from the Torah, we get that from the Tanakh. I and most Christians subscribe to a belief called progressive revelation. And it's something that you see in everyday life. When you have children, you do not tell them as soon as you have them everything about the birds and the bees or how old you are. This, you wait until they mature and then you begin to reveal things. And you said something about clarity, and I feel like that's exactly the Christian's perspective. The New Testament is not changing anything necessarily. It's providing more clarity as to God's loving nature. It's an expression of God's love to the highest degree. And I agree with you that it's perfect, but the problem is that we are imperfect, which is why in Jeremiah highlights this. In Jeremiah 31, I believe it is, 31:31, he says, I'm going to make a new covenant because the previous one, y'all broke. That's literally the words that he uses, not y'all. God didn't say it like that. I'm making God Texas. But he's like, the previous one, you broke because I was a husband to you guys, but you guys broke the covenant. Then he uses other language, Jeremiah 32:40. He said, I'm going to now give you all one heart and one way to worship me, and I'm going to give you an everlasting covenant. Why all of a sudden in Jeremiah, halfway through history, is God now talking about an everlasting covenant? That implies, and these are God's words, not mine, that the previous one was broken somehow. It wasn't everlasting, which is why he's alluding to something that's going to come. So the idea that it's closed contradicts what is revealed in Scripture, because it would be one thing if I would say, like, I have no reference points to point back to the idea that Christianity is founded upon, but all throughout Scripture you see that Jesus, or God, who I believe is Jesus, gives nuggets like this is going to happen. The last thing I'll say is the story of Abraham. But when you first meet Abraham, you meet him in Genesis 11, and then in Genesis 12:2, God talks to him out of nowhere and says, I'm going to make you a nation. And so he says, get up and go. Abraham doesn't know what he's talking about. He just gives him a little nugget, but he gets up and he goes. So God is a God that continues to bring clarity. God is perfect, but we are not. So the Christian God is Jesus, and he's not random. He's been there all along.
What did Jeremiah, which verse did you quote?
32:40.
What did it say again?
It says that I'm going to give you all one heart with one way to worship me, and I'm going to make an everlasting covenant.